Today's show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well. I guess that's such the truth. It does not matter who the host is. Today is Wednesday, July the 21st of 2021. Day 100. Well, no, it is not. I am a straight liar. Day 202 of the year, and only 163 days left to go. Hopefully everything is good and grand wherever the hell you are located, doing whatever it is that you're doing on this lovely, fantastic Wednesday, also known as Hump Day to many of us out there among the multiverse. Oh, look at that. I'm already noticing some things not transitioning inside of the screen. That's kind of fun as we start off right away. Maybe we need to get a little bit of this and maybe a little bit of that. So there you go. Now we got a little bit of both. So let's start moving and grooving, start talking about some of the things that are going on inside of the world as we are broadcasting live from our Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. I have to tell you right away, all kinds of fun stuff taking place. Computer loves me sometimes, loves me not at all. So it's kind of always a combination of things when we start talking. So I'm sure today will be a fun day as we are actually going through the stuff. But anyways, we are broadcasting, like I said, from the Safety FM studios, but we're also hanging out with our friends at that other place that we do stuff.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Okay, so let's start talking about some of the books that are out there, some of the things that we're seeing inside of the sequences of events, because I always think that this is important, so let's talk about it right away. According to the top fiction and nonfiction books currently on the New York Times bestsellers list, so let's do it. In the fiction category at the number 5 spot, People We Meet on Vacation. At number 4, The Last Thing He Told Me. At number 3, Falling. That's it, just falling. Number 2, 9 Lives. And then at number 1, The Paper Place. Is that a place that makes paper? I don't know. Okay, and then in the nonfiction category, let's take it from the other side of the equation. At number 5, Killing the Mob. Number 4, Trejo. Or Danny Trejo. Anyways. At number 3, The Body Keeps the Score. And number 2, This Is Your Mind on Plants. I wonder what kind of plants they're talking about. That'd be an interesting one. And then at number 1, How I Saved the World. So there you go. This is according to the fiction and nonfiction categories. So that's giving you a little bit of everything across the multi. So there you go. We're going to start getting into some news, talk about all that kind of fun stuff, because that's always a cool thing to do. So we're going to bring our friends in at Feature Story, let them come in, talk about what the hell they have going on, because I always think it's important to do so. Keep it locked here as we get into the news. It's always important what the news stories are, and then we have some more mumbo jumbo to talk about. That's mumbo jumbo, so let's get to it right away.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. At least 13 people are dead and around 100,000 people have been displaced in China's central Henan province following massive floods that have swept across the region. It comes after what weather forecasters say is the highest level of rainfall in 1,000 years. Patrick Falk reports from Beijing.
Video posted online showed people nearly neck-deep in water on subway carriages, and at street level, roads were completely submerged. The downpour in Henan has been going on since the weekend in what's been an unusually active rainy season. It's led to a rapid rise of several rivers in the Yellow River Basin. On Tuesday night, local authorities said there'd been a 20-metre breach at the Yiheyan Dam west of the provincial capital, Zhengzhou. There are fears the dam could collapse at any time, posing serious risk to its population of 12.6 million people. Patrick Falk, Beijing.
The UK will pay France $74 million to more than double patrols along the French coastline to try and reduce migrant crossings in the Channel. The number of people who've made the dangerous journey to England in small boats this year has reached almost 8,500. On Monday alone, the number was at least 430, a one-day record. And the Olympic Games is heading back to Australia, with the 2032 Summer Games awarded to Brisbane. Here's Arthur Stevens with more.
The International Olympic Committee, meeting in Tokyo, has ratified the hosting rights for the 2032 Olympic Games, awarding them to Brisbane. The Queensland capital, in the end, was the only city still in the running for the Games, and the ratification was little more than a formality. The Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, has declared Brisbane will offer the Olympic movement a safe pair of hands and pledged to create a successful model under the new host city strategy, showcasing a cost-neutral, climate-positive, safe and enthralling experience for the whole world. Arthur Stevens, Melbourne.
From Wednesday the 21st of July in France, any public venue with a capacity of more than 50 people will be required to check visitors' health passes, and only people who have been vaccinated against COVID-19 or who have recently tested negative will be allowed to enter. Here's FSN's Ross Cullen.
Anyone going to a cinema or a museum is now required to prove that they have been vaccinated or that they have had a negative PCR test result within the last 48 hours. This measure applies to cultural and sporting venues from Wednesday and is set to be imposed on bars and restaurants from the start of August. It comes as France tries to deal with its fourth wave of coronavirus infections. Ross Cullen, Paris.
And the Indian government claims there have been no deaths reported due to a lack of medical oxygen. It's triggered controversy in the country after a second wave of COVID-19 infections killed thousands. There have been more than 30 million cases in India since the start of the pandemic. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, Pegasus, the software that can turn your phone into a piece of technology that spies on you without you ever knowing it. A major international investigation by 16 news organizations has alleged that the software, manufactured by Israeli company NSO, has been used by several international governments to gather information about at least 50,000 separate targets globally. They include, we learnt yesterday, the French President Emmanuel Macron. John Scott Railton of Citizen Lab is one of the researchers who exposed the dark underbelly of Pegasus.
One of the things that for years we've known about this kind of spyware company is that they sell to autocrats and dictators. Autocrats and dictators do autocratic and dictatorial things with these technologies. What we're learning today, and increasingly now, is that officials of Western governments, including the French President Emmanuel Macron, as well as governments around the world, are also targeted. That includes a large list of sitting prime ministers, 3 presidents and a king, all targeted with this stuff. If a president of France can be targeted with this, what chance do you have?
NSO calls the allegations about its software false. The company says it's considering a defamation lawsuit against the media organizations behind the probe. It claims to sell its technology only to vetted law enforcement and intelligence agencies. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap our top stories, at least 13 people are dead and around 100,000 displaced in China's central Henan province following massive floods. The UK will pay France $74 million to more than double patrols along the French coastline to try and reduce migrant crossings. The 2032 Olympic Games will be held in Brisbane, Australia, and from Wednesday the 21st of July in France, any public venue that can hold more than 50 people will have to check visitors' health passes. That's the latest feature story news. Chris Jones reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention.
Sometimes you have to access a report, maybe your bank account, maybe something that's important to you, but you don't want other people to be able to access it. I know you're probably sitting there for a moment going, well, why don't you just go into incognito mode and use that instead? Well, let me tell you something real quick. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browser's history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you visited. And that's why even when I'm at home, I never go online without using ExpressVPN. It doesn't matter who your internet provider is. It can be Verizon, Comcast, or even AT&T. The ISP in the U.S. can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites that you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the times, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background and is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is available on all of your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for you not to be using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit my exclusive link at expressvpn.com/safety and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/safety. expressvpn.com/safety to learn more.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the news and so on. So fun. 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely hump day. Yeah, lovely hump day. You know, I have to tell you, taking a look around and sometimes just taking a look at what happens inside of this world of ours, this kind of amazes me. Take a listen to this real quick. A 1-year-old girl is the latest victim of the rise in shooting violence in Philadelphia. The child who is expected to survive her wounds was shot in the leg while at a convenience store over the weekend. Homicides in the city have surged this year with 304 murders and more than 1,200 people shot. Of those, 120 were children, with 21 of them dying. Shooting and other violent crimes have escalated in major cities across the country, including Chicago, where the number of shootings victims increased by 70% in March compared to March of 2020. Now, let's think about that for a moment as we talk about this, because here's the other portion. When I say compared to the year of 2020, well, it's going to be kind of like that duh moment, and I apologize about saying it that way. But there wasn't that many people on the road because a lot of people started getting locked up. And I don't mean locked up in the way that you're probably thinking locked up. I'm talking about the pandemic lockdown. So there was a lot of limitations on what you could do at that time. So think about it in that fashion. But it's interesting to see on how much that has changed in such a short period of time in the amount of shootings, especially related to children. I mean, don't get me wrong, adults are still important, but it's just mesmerizing on how it applies to children as well. Anyways, Jeff Bezos is an astronaut now, the Amazon founder, along with his brother Mark, 18-year-old Oliver Damon, and 82-year-old pioneer Wally Funk blasted off into the New Shepard rocket at 9:12 EDT yesterday. The trip lasted over 10 minutes. They reached about 66.5 miles, about 10 miles higher than Richard Branson's flight on July the 11th. Following the successful mission, the Blue Origin plans to host 2 more passenger flights by the end of the year. I don't know if you took a look around yesterday on social media, but a lot of people did not love how the ship looked. I'm just throwing that out there. If you haven't seen it, you should probably pull it up, and I use that term lightly. You should take a look at at the Blue Origin ship and see what it takes to look like. Kind of a little risque on some of the stuff that was going on across social media yesterday, but hey, that's part of what we do here. We go around taking a look at the other things that are available around there and so on. Anyways, let's continue talking. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Phoenix Suns Tuesday night, 105-98 to win their first NBA championship since 1971. And that was pretty much it. A lot of people excited last night. I thought it was kind of funny. There's this person that I watch a lot of their stuff, and they were all excited about being in Milwaukee, which they've said for years how much they hate Milwaukee. But last night, because they won, my hometown, my home state, my home whatever, I love them so much. It's just so stupid. Anyways, let's continue talking. The CDC reports that the Delta variant of the coronavirus now accounts for an estimated 83% of COVID-19 cases. Earlier this month, the variant accounted for about 50% of cases. Cases have increased, but deaths of the virus continue to drop. So here's the thing. So when you start hearing stuff like that, what comes to mind right away? Because you have to start thinking about it to go, okay, so now the disease is out there a little bit more. Deaths are lower, but what do you start thinking? It's like, is this a good variant or a bad variant? And you're going to go, what do you mean good and bad? Well, exactly what I said, good and bad So that's the other portion there. Think about that for a hot minute as we do continue talking here. Anyways, the number of detained immigrants in the Rio Grande Valley sector who have tested positive for COVID-19 has increased, you ready for this? By 900%. According to the info obtained by Fox News, 135 detainees tested positive in the first 2 weeks of July, making the surge in cases compared to the previous 14 months. The RGV sector sees more than 2,000 apprehensions a day and accounts for about 60% of those of the U.S. Border Patrol custodies. RGV sector chief Brian Hastings told the news outlet that he has had more than, 40 of his agents test positive for the virus this year. So what do you think? What do you think when you hear that? I mean, some stuff to think about for sure. So when you start hearing this number, an increase of 900%, it's like, wow, what the hell goes on now? I mean, seriously. So a lot of info, a lot of stuff to consider, but what do you start doing? Like, what can you do? I mean, if this is something where you're having a border issue, there's a lot of stuff to think about. And a 900% increase, I would love to know, based on the timeline. Because that's the stuff that you always have to think about. Think about it for just a hot sec as we talk about it. Where legendary's disease is on the rise in Michigan. Oh, my poor Michigan. The first 2 weeks of July, 107 cases have been reported across 25 counties, a 569% increase from 16 cases reported during the same time period of, guess when, 2020, according to the Department of Health. Symptoms of legendary disease, which is caused by the bacteria include fever, headache, cough, shortness of breath. Those with the highest risk of containing the disease are over 50. Current or former smokers, people with chronic lung disease, and people who with weakened immune system. No common sources of infections have been discovered as of yet. So far, the cases have led to no deaths. So that's a good sign. That is a good sign. No deaths so far. Anyways, a lot of stuff to think about as we are 21 minutes past the top of the hour.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as we are talking, a young girl from Collins, Mississippi called 911 with an urgent message last week. I need y'all to tell the sheriff that I love him and I love y'all. 6-year-old Mila Santa Maria told the dispatcher, I will make sure that I get it out to them, okay? The dispatcher responded. Sheriff Daryl Perkins still got the message and surprised Maya and her family with the school supplies and a special sheriff department coin. In return, Mila drew a picture of a heart for them. So there you go. That's kind of that's a feel good moment. We need those from time to time. But think about that. Okay, you called the sheriff department and let them know that is a very cutesy wootsy or whatever the hell I'm supposed to say there.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So did you hear about this one? A runaway bull. Yes, I did say bull. A runaway bull shut down a stretch of the highway in Suffolk County, New York on Tuesday. The animal was spotted around 8:30 a.m. by residents who called the police, prompting officers to issue an alert for residents to stay home. The bull was later spotted at around 10:30 by patrons at a 7-Eleven. Because, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. That's the place that you need to go when you're having some food issues. Officers are not sure where the bull came from. It is unclear if the bull has been captured. So there you go. Yeah, sometimes we do get into some of the news of the weird. And I'm not even in that section yet, so I'm not even sure how the hell that got in there. Anyways, dictionary.com has added more than 300 words. Amongst the newly added words are oof, which we talked about, which is synonym of yikes, and zaddy, which refers to an attractive man. Deplatform, which is the most commonly used on social media, was also added. The definition reads as prohibiting people from sharing personal views publicly online for fear of being canceled. Deplatform. The pandemic brought new vocabulary such as long COVID, referring to the lasting side effects of the virus, as well as oh my God, synchronously and asynchronously, 2 words describing the students around the world adapted to learning remotely. The Black Lives Matters movement also introduced the new vocabulary, which is DEI, or DI, meaning diversity, equality, and inclusion. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff going on into the mix.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, China unveiled a levitating train yesterday that can reach speeds of 373 miles per hour. How it works: electronic magnet forces allow the train to levitate above the track with no contact between the body and the rail. The lack of friction allows it to reach high speeds, making it the fastest ground vehicle in the world. In comparison, America's fastest train, the Accelera Express from NYC to DC, only goes about 135 miles. So hold on. If it's not touching the ground, if you know what I'm saying here, are we closer to true hoverboards? Not that shit that people came out with a few years ago that they're like, oh, this is a hoverboard, which was really not a hoverboard. It was just some stupid crap on wheels that people were like, oh, it's cool, it wasn't. So does that mean that we're closer? That's what I really want to know. Someone needs to be able to answer this question for me. Let me know. Anyways, let's get Johnny Smalls inside of here. Let him talk about the Motivation Minute. No, not the Motivation Minute. Let him talk about the stock market. Let's do that first. Have him talk about the stocks and see what's going on.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. Equity markets bounced back strongly Tuesday as investors shrugged off the looming impact of the COVID-19 Delta variant. The rising numbers of cases has sparked concern about economic shutdowns that could further impact an already overstressed system. An emerging theme of the second quarter earnings season is the fact that revenues are being impacted not only by rising inflation, but by the lack of availability of raw materials and shipping. If these situations are not corrected soon, the economic outlook for the second half of the year will become meaningless. And that's not good for stock prices. Looking at the charts, it appears as if the major indices are confirming the uptrend. The question is now if the market will follow through on Wednesday and move up to set a new all-time high. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know what's going on inside of the world of the market. Let me tell you a little bit of the stuff that we were able to find on our end. Stocks rebounded from poor start on the week and recovered during the Tuesday session. The Dow climbed about 549 points. The Nasdaq lifted about 223 points, and the S&P gained about 64. Investors are seemingly eager to buy the dip. Yeah, buy the dip on Tuesday after fears of the virus resurge on Monday and do sell off. Travel stocks saw heavy gains during the session. Simon's Property Group surged about 7% after being upgraded from hold to buy at a major rating firm. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff going around and about and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyway, so there you go. So what do you think? Are you playing the stocks? Are you doing the market? And do you hold regardless of whatever is going on? Hey, I'm not asking for your strategy 100%. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of what's going on. Anyways, it is 27 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out here on RadioBig.fm and on SafetyFM.com. Depending on how you're taking a listen to us, a view of us at all us, this is still the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, don't even ask. Don't even ask the rest because I know it can get all kinds of confusing. Anyways, let's get into our main story because I think it's about that time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking about all the stuff that is going around in the glorious timeline, the glorious time frames. You know, it's kind of interesting as we continue to look at trends and taking a look at what is going inside of our industry. It's amazing. And I am using the capital A word of amazing on the stuff that we see going around and about. What do I mean here? I am talking about when you get to interact with organizations or you even get to be inside of places where things are marvelous. And I'm not talking about sometimes, I'm talking about all the time. I'm talking about when you go in and all of a sudden they needed, let's say, for instance, a safety person or they needed a consultant to come in and talk to them about what was going on. And then all of a sudden it becomes one of those things that they told you the problem on the phone or they told you the problem via an email and you show up and everything has magically been fixed. Because here's the thing. As we have spoken about this on several different occasions, we'll talk about it once again today. It's kind of one of those weird things because most of the times people have an issue inside of the organization. They'll call a consultant to come in. They'll get in contact with the consultant and say, hey, we have X problem. What can we do to solve it? All of a sudden you show up to solve the issue or assist with solving the issue. But you have to be assigned with someone who is going to tell you the problems inside of the organization. Now, most of the times this is not a safety person. Remember this. This is a person that normally does operations. But what I have encountered from the past is when you get to interact with somebody from operations, all of a sudden they have contacted you, somebody else that has actually put you with this person, and all of a sudden they're supposed to tell you all the diggities of everything that has went wrong over the last little bit. Now think about this for just a brief moment. It's one of those things that you're turning around and you're asking someone, I need you to tell on yourself. Yeah, you did hear me correctly there. I'm asking you to tell on yourself. Right now, I need you to give me a breakdown of what is going on inside of this organization, but what is it that the operations team, hypothetically, is doing wrong? Now, think about this for a moment. How difficult it will be for most to turn around and tell on themselves, because that's essentially what it is. So as I look at this, this is where the magic trick comes about. Because then all of a sudden the conversation changes. And what do I mean when I say this? I'm talking that now that this has become a problem, or now that this has become an issue where you're having to say, hey, this is a problem inside of there, you notice automatically that things have auto-improved. Things all of a sudden are fabulous inside of the organization. It's like this magic trick has occurred, that things have went from the moment they contacted you to the moment that things are supposed to be taking place inside of there, that things have changed significantly. Now, there could be some accuracy to this. There could be, yes, that actually did happen. But think about how difficult that is. Because most of the time, depending on how busy you are as a consultant, or depending how busy you are just in general, things don't change that quickly. And for all of a sudden, out of the blue, for them to say, okay, cool, we had this problem, we need you here, and then voila. I don't know how true that could be, especially it changing so quick. So this is where it becomes interesting. So where do you start having the conversation when you go into the organization on how does this change? How can you tell them, hey, you've assigned me with someone who is not going to really self-explode, well, not self-explode, or really divulge information about the things that went wrong. I mean, think about this from any point of an audit standpoint. I have done more audits in my life than I probably care to admit. But it's always amazing to me that when I go into an audit and you have someone that you know that you're going to be sitting with going over information, how sometimes they will already have some information that they consider pre-pulled. Now, there's two ways to go about this. Number one, you can take the risk factor and go, I'm going to put all the bad files inside of this box and see what happens. That's one. Or you can put all the good files inside of this box and see what happens, and hopefully that they won't check the other stuff. Now, because the way my brain works, I have done both factors where I've checked both things just to be on the safe side. But let's kind of go back to the whole other section. Now, let's say that you're just working inside of an organization. You're not a consultant and you're having the same exact problem. You go and you're checking out the location. How do you get them to talk about this? How do you see this magic trick actually occurring? Listen, nobody wants to confess when something goes wrong for the most part, especially if they're in charge of it. Just things that I've seen in the past. So it's about that conversation piece of really looking at what is at the better good overall. Because listen, if there's a major screw up that you're called in a consultant or they called in somebody inside of the organization from a different department to come out and help, normally means something's pretty bad inside of there. Normally means that something is not actually going as well as it should. So we kind of have to take a look at it for just a brief moment. It is not a bad idea to ask for help. Listen, sometimes depending on what kind of actual work you do, like if you're an MD, you would actually have to sign something or take an oath where you're telling people that if you're not good enough at doing something, that it is okay to ask for help. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have the people inside of your organization sign an oath, but you should be able to have enough character to know that if something's going wrong, that discussion can actually be done. That discussion can be had in regards of things that are going on. Just kind of the way that it goes. That's the other portion there. Some people are not going to love that. Some people are not going to like that, but that's okay. We can still talk about it. We can still go about and say, hey, listen, we know the world's not perfect, and I know that this is a magic trick that all of a sudden has occurred inside of here, that things are now perfect from when they weren't before. People are not going to love that. People are not going to be too happy that this is what you're bringing up. But look at the worst case scenarios here. Somebody gets injured or somebody dies because of the lack of confession of something being wrong. Do you see where I'm going here? Do you understand the difficulty that can be inside of this? But I take a look at this, and being that kind of honest is difficult for some. Because you have to look at it, too, of when it's all said and done, how does that come about? Worst case scenario is somebody dies, somebody gets injured, or the other portion. You start talking about we have to do very high-level investigations across the board. How difficult does that become? How difficult does this thing all of a sudden go about? It's kind of a weird story, but something to think about for sure as we are talking this morning. It is 36 minutes past the hour. I give you a lot of info, but then again, what do I know? It's the guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit tunein2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants. We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMC and providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you. Okay, that's Your Vibe by Yomoti. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Thanks for Yomoti for allowing us to play this one. It reminds me of some other music I've heard back in the day. Oh yeah, some good times there for sure. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you want some more of it? You know how it goes. I get stuck on a song. I get stuck on some music here. We kind of go for a longer period of time than what I'm supposed to. So I have to tell you, let's talk about this real quick. This one seemed to get some people up in arms yesterday. And I've been asked to provide some more data, so let's do this real quick. And you'll be amazed on what the hell this is. If anything, it is the emoji story. Yeah, the emoji story yesterday got people moving and grooving on the other side here. So let's talk about the emotional decision. Yes, the emotional decision. How about a pregnant man emoji? Yeah, one of the new group of more inclusive emojis that may be coming out in the future software update, coming to a new software update to you. Emoji reference that the emoji media has released images of some of the finalists on the radar of the Unicode Consortium. Yeah, this is not a joke, which is responsible for the new releases. The Unicode 14.0 version. Finalists include gender-inclusive alternative to existing emojis for princess and prince. The ability to choose from 15 different handshake skin tone combinations, and a pregnant man and a pregnant person, recognizing how pregnancy is possible among transgender men and non-binary people. Other emojis candidates include melting face, saluting face, a face holding back tears, a disco ball, and a low battery symbol. The list of subject to change before September, when the consortium will formally approve the emojis to hit the operating system, apps, and devices near you. So I thought that was kind of interesting that people wanted more information about that one. So there you go. There's the more data. Well, I can begin to count the number of times that I've desperately needed a melting face emoji to adequately express the idea of the text, not to mention the pregnant man one as well. And I can't imagine what people are going to do about talking about their batteries going low, because that's going to be a thing. I wonder what combination will be about that will talk about the emoji with the battery dying. And I wonder if they'll have one as well for Jeff Bezos' new spaceship. Yeah, the new spaceship.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's give you something to talk about. Yeah, something to talk about. Remember that the awesome job I told you about yesterday, the company that's looking for the chief puppy officer. Yeah, took a look at the staff member dogs while at work. Yeah, to get about this. Here's the job that we've been looking for all our lives, and this is not a joke. McCormick and Company is hiring a director of taco relations. This is not a joke. The food company says the position runs September through December each year and pays about $25,000 a month for a total of $100,000. The director of taco relations will also receive a supply of McCormick McCormick taco seasoning and other products, and that's not all. It's a part-time position requiring 20 hours of remote work a week. About 10% of the job will require travel to in-person meetings, including visiting other taco locations in the U.S., traveling to McCormick's headquarters in Hunt Valley, Maryland, meeting with the team members and participating in taco eating sessions. While no experience is necessary, the company is looking for someone with strong teamwork mentality, an interest in all things taco, and a king of eyes for storytelling through social media. Link. Here you go. If you go to tinyurl.com/3NW, 3TPUY, that will get you to the actual portion to apply for this. So tinyurl.com/3NW, 3TPUY. I'm telling you, $100,000 September to December. I mean, that does not sound like a bad gig. You get to travel, work 20 hours a week, eat tacos, and boast on social media. This is paradise. I mean, this does not get much better than this. I just have to tell you, I love it.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
I'm legitimately going to open that link. I'm going to apply for that job, see if I can land that thing. You know, we'll figure out how to do this for 3 months, or 4 months remotely. No problem. You'll still love me. I hope you'll still love me. Can you please just love me? No, I'm kidding. Anyways, turn fun into games. A number of athletes have taken to social media to share the so-called anti-sex beds at the Olympic Village in Tokyo. Organizers announced that athletes will sleep on bed frames made of recycled cardboard. We've been talking about this for days now, but it's just such a fun news story. With mattress formed of polyethylene materials that will be reused for plastic products after the games. Images of the athletes, how small the rooms containing the single bed and slightly larger room with 2 of the recyclable beds, and many have taken to digs of laughable looking at the anti-sex beds that they're calling them. While the beds are tough enough beds to stand up for weightlifters, towering basketball players, they're definitely designed for one person only. The Irish gymnast let's see if I can butcher her name, McClenahan, posted a video on Twitter debunking the rumor that the beds were meant for to discourage activities and others than sleeping. In the video, he aggressively jumps up and down on the bed to prove that it's fake news, and the beds will break at any sudden movement. The official Olympic Twitter account responded and thanked him for debunking it. By the way, Tokyo Olympics are handing out 150,000 condoms to competitors this month. 150,000, geez, how busy are you? But a spokesperson said that they're not for use of the athletic village, but for the use to take home to raise awareness. Okay, so if there is one thing of the golden gods in the prime of their lives is that they're already aware of. I mean, I'm just trying to say. I think the guy just became the first athlete to ever win gold for demonstrating for the demonstrations board. And please don't ever again use the words auntie and sex in the same sentence, because this is just getting way too awkward.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's get you motivated. Let's get Johnny Smalls back over here. See what the hell he has to say about the Motivation Minute, because these are always important, so let's take a listen.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Ken. There's an anonymous quote that says, "Don't be upset with people and situations in your life because both are powerless without your reaction." So true. Our reaction is the only thing we can control. I used to work at a place that had an image of a sailboat on the wall, and it said, "Control the things you can control. You cannot direct the wind. You can only adjust your sail." That made so much sense to me at age 25. Now, 20 years later, it makes even more sense. I understand even more that I can't really control everything around me, but I can control how I respond to everything around me. And you know what? So can you. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Oh, there you go. Johnny Smalls dropping the knowledge bomb towards our direction. I think it's kind of funny because when I've been involved with several conversations where people lose their shiznit and start going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And this is the reaction. Right here. Now, if you are on the radio side, no change, no gestures. And if you really want to see people go cray-cray in regards of not reacting, that will be the trick. Just do that. Oh, it's just one of the most glorious things to do. I love it. Anyways, let's talk about the lottery real quick. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $161 million jackpot or I can't say that one. $116.1 million cash payout. So there you go. Good luck if you play the game because it might be time to play the game. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world. I always have so much stuff related to the world of celebrities, and I never know if that's something you really want to talk about. But whatever. Let's continue talking. Let's talk about things that happened back on this day. Let's go all the way back to, let's see, 1983. Temperatures in Vostok Station, Antarctica dipped to minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the lowest recorded temperature on Earth ever, anywhere. Yes, ever. Can you imagine that? Minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about that for a moment. Wow, craziness, right? Okay, also in 2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final book of the series of J.K. Rowling, is published worldwide. 11 million copies were purchased. Are you ready for this? In 24 hours. Also, back on this date in 2017, Justin Bieber gets banned from performing in China by Beijing's Municipal Bureau of Culture over his bad behavior. Bad behavior. So there you go. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Maggie Linderman, 23. Jessica Barden turns 29. DeAndre Jordan turns 33. Diana Guerrero turns 35. Chriselle Stoss turns 40. Paloma Faith turns 40. Romero Santos turns 40. A lot of 40 it seems like today. Josh Harnett, yes, that guy turns 43 today. You know, from Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down. Jeff Vatt turned 68. Oh, okay, I thought I was calling Jeff something there for a second. And Cat Stevens turned 73. Also, it would have been Robin Williams' birthday. He passed away back in 2014, if you do remember correctly. Wow, it's already been 7 years. Look at that. Anyways, let's talk about some days of the year that you can celebrate today. I think a lot of us, well, let's go through these other ones. National Be Someone Day. I try to be someone every day, that's for sure.
Duh.
And then National Hot Dog Day, so enjoy your hot dogs on this hump day if you're so inclined to do so. Another thing that you can celebrate, which I think a lot of us tend to celebrate all the time, it's also National Junk Food Day.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things. Matter of fact, should I continue talking or should I tell you or should I have him come in? You know, the guy that was born for this.
I'm Jeff Feiger. I've built one of America's most respected law firms. Against the odds, case after case, record-breaking verdicts. Now some tell me that I've done it all. It's time to walk away into the sunset. But those people just don't understand that justice and truth is in my DNA. And I'll never walk away. I was born for this.
Okay, that's Jeffrey Feiger. You can find out more information at 1-800-A-WINNER or go to FeigerLaw.com. That's FeigerLaw.com or 1-800-A-WINNER. Just saying. Just giving you the 411. The 411. Anyways, 54 minutes past the top of the hour. We are about 6 minutes away of going exclusively over to RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me on this lovely, lovely hump day. Maybe we'll talk about some of those kind of songs. We'll talk about about them in that fashion. Anyways, let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can find out more information at afsp.org. But they want you to know that whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, you can give them a call at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or text the word TALK to 741-741. Listen, we all go through struggles from time to time, and don't let this kind of go to the wayside. If you are struggling or know someone who is struggling, it is always good to learn more about a subject where you can be a great resource for other people or for things that you might need yourself. Keep that in mind. My friends at American Foundation for Suicide Prevention are always there for you. So there you go. Some information there for sure as we are talking on this lovely morning. Let's continue talking. Let's talk about, did you know consumers in the G20 countries waste an average of 4,775 pounds, the equivalent of a large car, in food every year. 1/3 of the world's food is lost or wasted, according to the report by Food and Agriculture Organization in the United Nations, and it comes with the environmental cost. Food loss waste amounts roughly about 6% of global greenhouse gas emissions, about 3 times of aviation. So there you go, some things to think about as we are talking this morning. Some other things going on. Let me give you some whack facts on this wacky Wednesday as we can talk about. A sound of a human yell would take about 3.5 hours to travel from New York to San Francisco. A man once survived on pizza alone for 25 years. I think that still goes on today. All dogs expect to chow to have a pink tongue. The chow is a blue-black. The official color of the universe is cosmic latte. Prince William's childhood nickname was Wombat. You inhale about 700,000 of your own skin flakes daily. There's something to think about. Oh, there you go. Okay, so let's give you some other information, some scoops real quick. Comic-Con San Diego begins on Friday. Comic-Con is always full of geeks and nerds. Here's the difference between a geek and a nerd. A geek giggles when he hears the word booby, and a nerd snickles. Wow, what the hell? 132-night cruise on the Regent 7 Seas cruise has just sold within about 2.5 hours when ticket sales launched this week. The price was a whooping $73,499. This only cruise I'd spend that much time right now for is Tom. Did I say that out loud? I think I just did. According to a survey in July, the month of the people are most likely to cheat. And if you're caught, you'll get obsessed with the second Independence Day. Yeah, not a joke there. I've read where Bobby Brown claimed that he once ate a fried chicken that was battered in cocaine, or was that Lamar Odom calls for fried chicken? I'm so confused on that one. Fact of the day, it took about 14 minutes for Sia to write Rihanna's song Diamonds. And then Sia 14 years to cut her bang. So I don't get it. A lot of strange things there.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so here you go. If you need a random joke for today, try this one. I love cooking with wine. Sometimes I even put it on the food. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What is the biggest lie you've ever been caught someone in? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question: 41% of women say that if they could have any superpower, it would be this. What is it? Being a mind reader. So there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and SafetyFM.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. So if you want to come and hang out with me, you can. I'll be going over to Radio Big for the next quite a bit of time, or you can hang out on Safety FM. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM, and that is the listener. Without you, we can't do what we do. If I could leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even ever tried. Think about that. If you want to be a master at something, you have to continue to fail at it, and someday you'll master it. Think about my board running from time to time. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.